Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years. We're dedicated to delivering quality auto parts, expert customer service, fast and free shipping, all backed by our 100% satisfaction guarantee. So visit us at 1aauto.com, your trusted source for quality auto parts.
Okay, we're going to start by disconnecting the battery. This is a 10mm bolt. You always want to disconnect the negative side. Just get it loose. You reach in, you pull it off. You just set it aside. We have to pop off this cover that's on top of the engine. That just pops up. There's 2 points where it pops onto. So just kind of get them, and then you work it out straight from the back. Just like that. Let's see here, this is where it pops on here, and then these 2 tabs slide into the back. I'm going to set this aside so it doesn't get broken. Okay, so you don't have to remove the intake tube here. It just makes it a lot easier to see, especially for the video, you can see what we're doing. So we're going to start by loosening this tensioner. And then which tensions the drive belt. Before removing your belt, there's usually a belt path diagram under the hood somewhere. This truck doesn't have it, but you can also take note of it and draw your own on a piece of paper. So we're going to take a 15mm socket and a breaker bar. We're going to put it on the tensioner. We're going to push it down to loosen it. And pop the belt off. Gonna come right off. And you can slowly let the tensioner go back. That's about as far back as it's gonna go. Let's see if I can get it up over the hose here. And pull the breaker bar off. Before we take the alternator off, before we unbolt it, I'm going to unplug it here, squeeze this clip here, pull it out, place that aside. Okay, we're going to pull the positive cable off the alternator. This is a 10mm nut. Once that is loose, just thread it off by hand. And you can remove the cable, place that aside. And then what I like to do, so I don't lose the nut, just put it back on the stud, just hand tight. Okay, to remove this alternator from the bracket, these 2 15mm bolts need to come out. Start by loosening one, and loosen the other. And then you can just thread them out. Those bolts removed, the alternator should lift off the bracket. You might need a pry bar to get this off. Just gently pry on it, either side. You have to work it back and forth. Once it's loose, you can lift it right out of the engine bay. Okay, so to reinstall the alternator, I've put a little bit of white lithium grease on the ears here, just to make it easier to slide into the cradle. Just sort of work it down. Might need your pry bar again to just line it back up. Start threading that in. And then start tightening them down with your 15mm socket and ratchet. With the alternator bolts installed, now we're going to bring them to the final torque of 41 foot-pounds. All right, so now we're going to reinstall the positive cable. So we're going to take off that nut. Place the cable over it. Bring the nut all the way down. Torque is like 81 inch-pounds or 9 newton meters. It's real light. You don't want to snap the stud off, so you basically just bring it down just so it just starts to get tight. You don't have to kill it. Make sure you put the rubber boot over it because that is a live wire when the car is running. That way nothing shorts out against it. Keep that rubber boot on there. Final thing is to plug in this connector back in the alternator. Okay, now we're gonna install our serpentine drive belt. So I'm gonna lay it down like that. I'm gonna run it up around the idler pulley, over the alternator, down around the power steering. Goes up and over the water pump. It goes back, down around the crank pulley. Make sure it's sitting in all the pulleys as you go around them. See, it's sitting in all the pulleys. You can actually pull it tight a little bit. We're going to take our breaker bar, slide breaker bar around the belt. Now I can push it down. Feed the belt over. Make sure it stays in the crank pulley. It can get a little tricky. You kind of walk it over the pulley tensioner. This pulley's new, so it's not as stretched out as the old one, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get on. But just before you release it, make sure it's around all the pulleys and seated in the grooves. Once you're sure it's like that, just gently release the tensioner. You can see that's nice and tensioned up. And it's looped around all the pulleys. Okay, so now we're gonna put this engine cover back on. So you've got these two little pins here, and there's two little sort of clips in the back that this needs to slide in, up and into, and then over these to lock it down. So it's easier to slide it to the back and get these hooked, and then push it down onto these. It's got a little bit of a curve here. There's some heater hose lines on the other side that they need to go over it like this. So you basically just start it and just kind of slide it down, and you can almost see it, and it hits those hooks, and then you push it over those pins and down, and it's on.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.